Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially healthcare. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
How does PwC take your company to the leading edge? They bring the sharpest minds in tech to your team, so you can bring the ideas that will transform your business. They're passionate about your industry, so you can walk into any room with every advantage. And they're with you every step of the way, so you can know you're headed in the right direction. PwC builds for what's next, so you can get there now. Get started at pwc.com/us/leading edge.
Sunday morning. Well, what happened in the markets? Well, it was a roller coaster for a while. With us today is John Terrett. Give us a report.
Good morning. Well, there's really only one story, and that was Friday's SCOTUS decision, of course. That 6-3 majority against the president's tariffs. The court was asked to decide whether President Trump used the IEEPA laws, those emergency laws, granted to all presidents from Carter onwards in 79 for tariffs, whether that was legal or not. And if it was, did the emergency he was talking about, i.e. the imposition of tariffs, raise to the level of an unusual and extraordinary threat? Well, the court said no. And now President Trump can't even charge countries trying to import here even $1. He said it was a disgraceful decision, and he outlined alternatives, though they won't be as easy and smooth as the tariffs under IEEPA were. The president said he was deeply disappointed and ashamed of certain members of the Supreme Court. He said they'd be dancing in the street in foreign countries that have been ripped off for years. He said alternatives will be used. He said the income into America will increase even after this decision, because he's going to use methods, practices, and authorities that make it even stronger to tariff countries from overseas than it was possible with IEEPA laws. His great certainty had returned to the U.S. economy. He immediately proposed a 10% global tariff across the board. He's going to use the Trade Expansion Act of 62, the Trade Act of 74, the Tariffs Act of 1930 to do all of this. Now, John, what the court did not discuss at all was how companies who've been covering these tariffs since last April will get paid back. Names like Ford, GM, and Costco, they're going to have to file paperwork. They're going to have to line up in the courts. It could take a year. President Trump on Friday suggested it may even take 5 years. Justin Kavanaugh, one of the justices who sided with President Trump, said he thought the whole thing could be a mess. Away from tariffs, on Friday we got GDP, that's growth, that was weaker than expected. We got PCE inflation that was hotter than expected. The markets didn't really rally. We thought there might be a big sell-off. There wasn't in the end. The crypto story of the week, the big cryptocurrency event going on involving blockchain as well in Denver, Colorado, that's attended by crypto fans, not so much the executives from Wall Street. And so too the week ahead. Well, it's the State of the Union on Tuesday, and you've got to believe President Trump is going to look those justices squarely in the eye from the podium in the House on Tuesday evening. And then the next day, Wednesday the 25th, we get NVIDIA, the chip maker, with their latest set of earnings. John.
Well, thank you very much for the update. I don't think the Supreme Court did their homework enough because he had so many alternatives to do. President Trump, as a matter of fact, said on Friday afternoon, he says, we're going to charge everybody 10%, and it's less fair versus more fair. And whatever happens, happens.
Well, President Trump said that he didn't think that what is going to happen is what the Supreme Court expected to happen after they made the ruling. And as I said in my report there, he's turning to all sorts of alternatives, things that he calls different authorities, different methods, different practices, in order really to keep the tariffs going, but just in a different form.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and let's catch up again next week.
Yep, see you Sunday again. Thanks very much, John.
Rural Americans deserve access to the best our nation has to offer, especially when it comes to health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families' health. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.